sad occasion that on the 220th anniversary of the Bill of Rights, the document that gave us, the Americans, their fundamental rights, a very cowardly and sneak attack was made, and the Bill of Rights is now compromised, to say the least.
What an ironic day! December 15th, the day designated as the Bill of Rights Day by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Because in 1791, 220 years ago, the Bill of Rights was ratified. Today, Obama, with the sign of a pen, has gotten rid of the Bill of Rights. It is not only due process that will no longer happen in this country. You can be arrested without charge, you can be held indefinitely without a court appearance, but it puts a damper on all other democratic rights.
It's very important that we recognize the historical significance of these tactics of indefinite detention and who they have targeted in the past, and their uses in subverting political dissent and also creating fear in the public. On Tuesday, December 13th, this statement was approved by the Liberty Square General Assembly by activists with Occupy Wall Street. This past week, the Senate and the House of Representatives passed the National Defense Authorization Act. This act brands civil disobedience and acts of protest as acts of terrorism. Under this bill, the military could, at any time, incarcerate Americans indefinitely, without trial, for suspicion of planning civil disobedience actions. This bill is found to be illegal and unconstitutional on many dimensions. One, it removes posse comitatus, meaning that the military could use force on American soil and arrest U.S. citizens. Two, it violates habeas corpus, the right to a fair trial, and assumes guilty before proven innocent. And three, it removes the right to freedom of speech and freedom of press by rendering dissenting voices as illegal. As it stands, our best hope for maintaining our freedoms is the veto of this illegal, unconstitutional bill. We at Occupy Wall Street call on the President to uphold his inaugural oath to defend the Constitution and reconsider the decision that he made this morning in signing that bill. Thank you all so much for being here.
All right.
We are trying to violate our rights using the pretext of war on terror, when in fact the only ones that are victimized by terrorism is the people themselves. And if we do not stand up, then unfortunately we will be witnessing our own demise. But for me, there's only one or two realities. Franz Fanon said, it is a time where every onlooker is either a coward or a traitor. So we cannot be cowards. We got to be people who stand up with courage and conviction. And we cannot betray the ideals or the principles that the Bill of Rights, as well as the Constitution, at least articulate. We got to make those words a living reality, and even more so, we have to change America in a fundamental sense.
It's not surprising that in a military appropriations bill would come such an attack on the Bill of Rights, because every part of an ever-expanding and growing military means less rights for everyone here in the U.S. today and everyone around the world. What was the Bill of Rights? The Constitution, which was written to protect the rights of the 1%, the rights of property, could not pass. Those original slave owners and merchants realized they could not get the people of this country to pass the Constitution unless they guaranteed rights, basic rights for the people here. And ever since then, there has been a continual struggle to expand those rights At one time, when this country was founded, slavery was legal. The ownership of people, the buying and selling of people was legal. The genocide of the native population was legal. Expanding and defending the Bill of Rights has been, from the very beginning, what the people's struggle has been all about. We're told that anyone in this country can be picked up, held indefinitely, without trial. When we see attacks on the right to assemble, such as Occupy Wall Street has done across the country, and those encampments from tents to sleeping bags to literature tables are rounded up. When we see the attacks on the Islamic centers where people are simply gathering to pray and to meet, these attacks are, every single one of them, are attacks on the Bill of Rights. Today is not the end. This struggle continues on every front. Every time people gather to defend their rights, they're pushing forward the Bill of Rights. They're pushing forward our guarantees and our demands that we, the people, have a right. We have a right legally. We have a right to freedom of speech. We have a right to a trial by jury. We have a right to a defense of our choice. We also have a right to jobs. We have a right to health care. We have a right to housing. We have a right to education. In this, the richest country of the world, they're telling us we have no rights. Give it all to the banks. Give it all to the corporations. And we say no. We will defend our rights to jobs, to housing, to health care, to a jury trial, to freedom of speech. We will continue to speak out, to gather, to demonstrate, to protest. The people will defend our rights, all of us together. Thank you.
In the Philippines, we have an experience of a time when unwarranted arrests and indefinite detentions were allowed. We had a time when protests were criminalized and were illegal. We had a time when people languished in jail because of their political convictions and were tortured because of them. We call this time martial law. We did not call it the National Defense Authorization Act. Will the generation of Americans here in the U.S., the generation inspired by Egypt, the generation inspired by Tunisia, the generation inspired by Occupy Wall Street, allow martial law? No! Brothers and sisters, history has taught us that martial law can be brought down only with diligent movement and struggle. The African Americans taught us that only with United People's Organization and movement and struggle can our civil liberties be protected.
At this point, we have to do everything within our power. Tell everybody we know. Tell our friends, tell our family, tell the world what the heck is going on, because we have to wake up and we have to win. We have no choice, and we will win if we stick together, because 99% in mathematics is a little bit bigger than 1%.